La nube ha revolucionado la forma en que almacenamos y accedemos a nuestros archivos, y en el mundo tecnológico actual, el almacenamiento en nube y la seguridad de nuestros datos son factores cada vez más importantes. En el episodio de hoy hablamos con Emery Wesson de Jackal Protocol, una plataforma que busca revolucionar el almacenamiento en nube de forma descentralizada, cambiando la forma en que almacenamos y compartimos nuestros archivos en línea. Todas las ideas expresadas por los anfitriones de este podcast y la de sus invitados son únicamente opiniones propias y no deben ser tratadas como la inducción a la compra o venta de un activo. Hello everyone in the crypto space. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Criptomonedas.do. Thank you for making us part of your weekly routine to start off the week with relevant and interesting information from the people that are investing their energy and all of their efforts into causing an impact in the crypto space. Today, we're joined by Emery from Jackal Protocol. For those of you who don't know, Jackal Protocol is a decentralized cloud storage solution that's built using blockchain technology, which aims at giving developers and users the necessary tools to build in a simple, efficient, and effective way. So, Emery, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Cape Crypto. Glad to be here and talk about what Jackal Protocol is and where it's going in the future.
Absolutely. We're super excited. I would like to start off if you can share a little bit about who you are, like your background and how you got involved in the crypto space.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as you said, my name's Emery. I'm actually trained as an accountant in the U.S. So that's actually my background, just crunching numbers and doing taxes. That's where I started. But I did started getting into crypto accounting and stuff like that once crypto started to be a bit more of a lot of people's financial portfolios. 3 to 5 years ago, it really took off in the U.S. Quite a bit. And I had a friend introduce me to more and more blockchain technology, more and more crypto projects, and I just started really getting into it because it seemed like such a great way to decentralize our world, have a bit more freedom with our own money, and be able to do things that you can't do in Web 2. So I became very, very fascinated with it. I started my crypto journey kind of more in the Ethereum world. I think most people kind of do. And then I moved on to the Cosmos network, specifically Secret Network, for quite some time. I really enjoyed their projects over there, and that's actually where I met the team over at Jackal Labs right now. Patrick and Marston are great people. I thought about helping them out with their forensic investigation tools that they're going to use, because I did a lot of forensic investigation as an accountant, and then it kind of bloomed much more into a storage protocol that it is today. And I just stayed with the team because I felt like what they're doing then and what they're doing now are still just as important. So I feel like I kind of set my path right there. So I went from doing crypto taxes and accounting all the way to being the Jackal Protocol economist right now. So that's kind of my role, and I'm super happy to be here. I can't imagine my life anywhere else at the moment.
Awesome. That's awesome. And it really translates again into the fact that we come from all walks of life, and then we just discover crypto and we just like go deeper into the rabbit hole and just like decide this is what I'm going to do with my life now.
Yep, absolutely. It was great. And I'm not looking back.
Awesome. And I would like to ask you, Emery, then how was it that Jackal Protocol come about? Because I know that it used to be called Jackal DAO. So what eventually like ends up becoming Jackal Protocol, and like what's the motivation behind it, and what is the problem that you're trying to solve with what you're doing?
Yeah, sure. So Jackal Protocol came about with our two co-founders looking for an e-discovery tool in court that were based on blockchain tech. And essentially, what they're trying to do is use blockchain to keep track of digital evidence and who had what at any given point in time. And the most important aspect about that is keeping that clean forensic environment, being able to have tamper-free evidence, and that's difficult to do on platforms such as AWS or Azure, where that information is so critical, so vital to your process, where if any kind of leaked evidence got out or any kind of tampering happened, it would definitely ruin your process. So they were thinking, well, what's a way they could have an immutable chain of events happen, and that happens to be blockchain. So that's how Jackal Protocol came about, being able to follow pieces of information from one point to another and understand where the ownership of that information was from one point to another. So that's how Jackal Protocol got started. We moved from Jackal Protocol from Jackal DAO quite some time ago. We figured protocol makes a little bit more sense for us. We are an L1 in the Cosmos blockchain, and we figure that this encompasses more of what we're doing rather than just the DAO that it was before. That explains the move from DAO to protocol, and yeah, being able to use that storage layer that we have now that is functional is where is the center of what we're doing, and it will branch out from there into many different types of use cases. But it all just started from needing to follow breadcrumbs, on untamperable breadcrumbs from one piece of evidence to the next.
Awesome. That's amazing. And what role do you feel Jackal Protocol plays like in the overall architecture of the Cosmos ecosystem? I know that you already said that like you started to do with like the forensics to make sure that
Mhm.
everything, is like organized, that you can keep track of all the information. You already mentioned some of the limitations of more
Mhm.
like traditionally like centralized structured cloud storage solutions. So what does Jackal Protocol come to do for the Cosmos ecosystem?
Yeah, I can definitely expand on that. So, as I said, our central module is that storage module, and
Yep.
one of the most important things today, not only in blockchain but also in the rest of traditional finance and Web 2, is storage, having
Mhm.
the place to store your data, and especially in a way that only you can own that data. And a
Yep.
large part of blockchain and crypto philosophy, as you're well aware, is not your keys, not your crypto. And
Yep.
one of our tenets is not your keys, not your storage, right? So we want everyone to have complete ownership of whatever data they have, whether it be crypto or records that they keep. So one of the things that we intend to bring to Cosmos is that storage layer to the many important applications that are coming in Cosmos. Cosmos is only growing bigger and bigger every year, and the amount of applications and protocols that are going to be built on it, I can only assume it's just going to grow exponentially. And that data needs to be
Absolutely.
stored somewhere. And we believe that Jackal Protocol is just the best place to put it. We think that having your data in some place like Google Cloud or Azure AWS is just inherently insecure. And one of the tenets of people, I think, who want to use the blockchain is that security that it offers. So why not use blockchain tech to store your data rather than something off chain? I think that when you have people who are so heavily rooted in blockchain technology, whether it be NFTs or storing financial data or anything else important, then having that blockchain technology, the security of it that's inherent in it, and the improvements that we put on it is critical. So having that storage layer and whatever else we decide to put on the blockchain on our app layer in the future, we think is going to be critical for Cosmos because it's rapidly growing, and whatever is going to be used in the future is going to need storage. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. So we think we're perfectly positioned to provide that data security for them.
Absolutely. And I like the fact that you're focusing a lot on the future of what the Cosmos ecosystem will ultimately become, because right now I know that a lot of people are still not familiar with the Cosmos ecosystem. Like they're
Mhm.
starting to read about it. Like you said, most of us, we started off in Ethereum and then we found out about Cosmos, we started reading about it, and then we start becoming more involved. So the more time progresses, that's probably gonna be the tendency that more developers and more particle just creators are going to start migrating to the Cosmos ecosystem. So I definitely agree with you with the fact that we need those decentralized cloud storage solutions. So I'm really happy to hear that Jackal Protocol is focusing on making sure that everyone has the necessary tools to keep on building in a blockchain based way within the Cosmos ecosystem.
Yeah, absolutely. And you definitely see every once in a while an Ethereum project move to Cosmos. We've seen a couple of them this year, even already. So um, I think this is only an indicator that it's only going to grow, and people not based in Cosmos tend to be moving here because it's easy to build. The community is extremely helpful with one another, and being able to have applications interact with one another makes us, extremely composable. So uh, we feel that Jackal Protocol it can really be near the center of that.
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't know like why I thought about this reference just now, but I think of Cosmos as like when you just enroll in college and you're like walking around campus and you like see the guys that are trying to help you find your way, like through the
Yes,
campus. I think
absolutely.
that Cosmos is that like the community, like you say, we're all looking to see like, hey, can I help you with anything?
Yeah, exactly. We all want to work together, and we all want to see what we can do to make the blockchain space just more accessible and just easier to use. So I know when Jekyll Protocol entered the Cosmos space, and I saw them, Secret Network was very eager to help out and whatever they could do to make the app experience a little bit better. And we were just getting contacted by everyone saying, "Hey, maybe this can help you. Maybe this can help you." It was a great experience. We enjoyed the friendliness of the Cosmos ecosystem.
That's awesome. It's awesome to hear that that was your experience and that you're trying to create that same experience for everyone else. And I wanted to ask you because you already mentioned, right? So Jackal starts off in the secret, in secret
Mhm.
networks. What was it that ultimately pushed you to like create your own chain? Like, what? Can you explain why you made this decision and what benefits it provides?
Yeah, absolutely. So, as you alluded, Jekyll was going to be an L2 on the secret network, and there were a few factors that kind of led us in a bit of a different direction. One, there were a few limitations that Secret Network had that we felt that Jackal couldn't really deal with very well. Um, I'm sure you're aware of Secret Network using your trusted environments and the SNP 20 standard. And while we definitely liked the security of those, it just did not expand in the way that we would have liked it to in
Got
that
it.
particular ecosystem. So it's not that Secret Network wasn't great for what they did. It just wasn't able to accommodate everything that we wanted to do. So that kind of led us to the L1 route. We just wanted to do a lot more with this chain, and being an L2 limits us in a few different ways. So we decided that, hey, if we want to be everything we can be and the best we can be, we do have to have our own sovereign chain.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Because it gives you the tools to be a way more robust option for people to use. And it really allows you to build like from the ground up, which I definitely think it's a great
Yeah,
point to like.
absolutely. It was a very ground up experience. The being an L2 does have its perks, though. Having a blockchain to build on, having the support of that blockchain, and
Mhm.
breaking away from it. Although it was a tough decision, but we did want to make sure that we were free to more or less do whatever we need to do to grow the protocol.
Absolutely. And talking about growing the protocol, I would like to talk about the recent launch of the cloud storage dashboard. I wanted
Yeah.
to ask you, like, what can users do on it, and how does it improve the user experience?
Yeah, absolutely. So Jackal Storage has launched now, which is great. We've been waiting this for quite some time. So right now, you can do uh, any basic data storage on it right now. Think of your Dropbox or Google Drive. Jackal Storage functions rather similarly. And right now, there are a couple different plans that you can use. You have the 1 terabyte, which is the most popular right now, and you can go up all the way up to several hundred terabytes. Eventually, we will have a free plan coming out soon. Free as in you really only have to pay gas in order to use it, but that will be coming out very, very soon. We're excited to roll that out to users who just kind of want to test it out for their use and convenience, and then they can move on to much larger storage plans. So I definitely encourage you guys to go visit that. App.jackalprotocol.com to see what you can do with it. We encourage you to test out our system, and we're always looking for feedback. We have a Discord, we have a Telegram group, and we have a Twitter. So we're looking for feedback, how to improve the user experience. We're making the network faster week by week, so that users have just as great of experience with the traditional Web2 products like Google Drive and Dropbox, but have the enhanced security of Jackal Protocol without sacrificing much of anything like speed or usability.
Awesome. And I know that something that's going to be interesting for people to know that they probably want to know is how does Jackal Protocol ensure the security of its platform and the assets held within it? Because so we already talked about the launch of the cloud storage dashboard, but how is it that you
Mhm.
secure the network?
Yeah, sure. There are a couple really big ways. One, we utilize the inherent security of the blockchain already. So that's kind of where we build our base, and a couple of security measures. One, the our code is completely open source, so if you're a little tech savvy, you can check this out. But there's absolutely no way for Jekyll Protocol to view user data that's stored on us. So if you have sensitive information, then and you're worried about who might be able to see that information, the only person who can do that is the one that holds the wallet to that information, and ideally that's just you, right? So unless you want to share it, in which case we will have our share function coming out rather soon. But that
Got
is
it.
completely optional. So uh, having absolutely no way to view your data whatsoever, we believe builds confidence in that security. Two, we do use AES 256-bit encryption. That is currently military standard, bank standard, and anything else that just can't be known to the rest of the world unless you wanted to. So that is the standard we use to encrypt every single file that gets uploaded from your browser to the protocol, and all that encryption is done on the front end of the dashboard. So when you upload data, that 256-bit encryption is implemented on that data, and then it goes up to the cloud. So uh, I would say those are the two of the biggest things that we rely on is the inherent security of the blockchain, as well as that AES 256-bit encryption, which is currently the best in the market.
That's amazing. And it's funny that like so a lot of people that are not like super familiar with like traditional cloud storage, like with just ways of operating, is that we've pretty
Hmm.
much like grown accustomed to just like sharing all of our information with like AWS and like all these other
Oh
like
yeah.
more centralized solutions. So for us that are in the crypto space, it's like, oh yeah, absolutely, like full encryption and security and everything. But it's funny,
Mhm.
like how those have been like the paradigms of the cloud storage space. So, to hear that you're putting so much attention to detail to make sure that everything is ultra secure and no one besides the person that holds, the keys to that specific wallet, I think it really does add a lot of security and like reassurance for the
Mhm.
people that are gonna ultimately be using Jackal protocol.
Yes, absolutely. We really enjoy the fact that, in the same way that your crypto is protected by a seed phrase, so is your data. I can't think of anything really more secure than that. And eventually, when we do have ledger support, you could even really be even more secure. Not being able to have that ledger with you and thinking of your ledger as just a live USB stick you can just kind of put in your computer, hook up to Jackal Cloud Storage, and access your data. I think that's absolutely wonderful. So we really want to be the epitome of privacy and security when it comes to not only blockchain but just storage in general. We want to make sure that whatever you have that is important to you only belongs to you. And the Web2 companies such as Google, Azure, AWS. It's I think it's pretty well known that they if they wanted to they could access that data, and we definitely don't want that for our product.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Emery, I like we've also seen that Jackal Protocol, like going back to like growth and development and like how Jackal Protocol will continue to like adjust and adapt. We've seen that you formed some partnerships with Serenity Shield and with Praetor. Like, can you explain what these
Yeah.
partnerships mean for Jackal Protocol?
Yeah, sure. So I'll start with Praetor. Praetor is gonna help us with a bit with better uh, user experience. We're looking to have that experience with onboarding for storage providers and optimizing our network and your machine for storage providing. So
Got it.
um, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Praetor and their applications, but they do a lot of user. They do a lot when it comes to usability and these nice few click installs. So as of right now, it takes a little bit of technical knowledge to set up a storage provider, but ideally, we want to make this accessible to most people. So having these one click installs, asking you how much data you'd like to store, and just saying and just hitting OK. That would be ideal.
Yeah.
So Praetor is going to be someone we'll work closely with to make sure that that user experience is just perfect for those who want to provide data but don't have that deep technical background that is needed at the moment. So we as simple as we try to make it, blockchain tech is still in its infancy, and a little bit of tech background is definitely needed. But
Absolutely.
if we want to expand more to the Web2 world and have people who are not used to this, then we want to make sure that usability and user experience are at the top of our priority.
Absolutely.
And Serenity Shield. Um, so when it comes to Serenity Shield, we're looking at helping them provide infrastructure for what they have now. It's called their Strongbox, I believe. Right now, we're working with them to see what we can do. Like I said, it's mostly infrastructure right now. We are making sure that whatever data storage that they decide to have implemented, that Jekyll can be behind it with our security and our privacy features.
Got it. Got it. I like the fact that you're prioritizing because I just had a conversation about the fact that a lot of people forget that what's ultimately being done in the crypto space is that protocols or projects and yeah, like products are being developed and you're ultimately going like obviously it's like a different kind of technology, but there are so many like Web2 solutions that people are just accustomed to using. And ultimately, we're trying to build an incredibly easy, simple, and elegant solution for people to use this new technology, because we understand, for the ones that have been in the crypto space for a while, we all understand the learning curve. Then sometimes they can be really
Oh
steep
yes,
for people, because it's like, wait,
absolutely.
I have to do what, and like connect which wallet to what and use what to do what. Like it can be confusing for people that are like brand new, like, and especially for someone that's just like saying, okay, I just want some cloud storage. Like, can you please make it so that I don't have to spend 30 minutes to an hour understanding how is it that I'm going to use like your interface? So I'm really happy to see that you're like putting so much energy and focus into making this as simple as possible for people.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely remember, and I'm pretty sure many people have a similar experience to me when we first downloaded MetaMask
Oh my god,
and
yeah.
seeing all those different all those different networks you connect to, and make sure you don't send, Ethereum USDC to Polygon USDC, or
Yeah, yeah,
you lose it all. And
yeah.
there's going to be an element of that at first, but I think as blockchain matures, as Jackal matures, things will get much easier, and we want to be at the forefront of that.
Absolutely. And speaking of like becoming more mature, what are your future plans for the growth and development of Jackal Protocol?
Yeah, absolutely. So, a couple of the really big things that we're looking to get out, especially in the near future. One is our share function. This share function will be extremely critical for those who want to optionally share their data with others, friends, family, or like I said before, I'm a trained accountant, and it really bothers me when people send sensitive data over email. I'm like,
Yeah.
please don't do that, right? So, them having something like Jackal Storage, right, which is extremely secure and cheap. In comparison to things like AWS, then them knowing if they want to share an important financial document with me, all I have to do is share my wallet address, and they can send it to me without anybody else intercepting that, knowing it's been sent, except for them and me. So that's a real big game changer for us, and we can't wait for that to come out. Um, Another really big thing that we're looking at doing, probably a little bit down the line, we've mentioned it a little bit before, but our Shepherd Gateway is something that we have been toying around with for a little while. A secure web gateway to for access for only certain users for certain types of data is something that is real critical, I think, for not only just Web3, but also other Web2 products. So imagine being able to, just be able to have content behind a paywall, but that content is kind of behind a wallet. So,
Yeah.
and the best thing about that is that you can, have certain whitelists available for people to, put in their wallet address, so they can have access to certain content or not have access to certain content. But all this kind of stems from our storage product. None of this is possible without Jackal Storage. It all uses the very same secure and private tech. So I would say those are the two really big things that we're looking forward to: is the share function and and Shepherd Gateway. I think those two things could be usable by absolutely anyone, and especially creators. You can think of really a lot of things when it comes to people who like to create things like. Whether it be YouTube videos or content you put out, such as art, and have that behind a wallet rather than people trying to snoop around the internet for leaked photos or leaked
Absolutely. Yeah.
content or
Yeah.
video. Jackal can solve that problem.
That's awesome. I'm going to be really excited to talk to you later in the future when all of that is deployed. I think that that's going to be like really exciting. You're probably going to be real busy for the next couple of months, so that's going to be a really awesome conversation. And
Yes, absolutely. Happy to circle back with you on that.
absolutely. And so we already talked about Serenity Shield and Praetor, but are there any upcoming
Mhm.
partnerships or collaborations that you can share that Jackal Protocol has in the works?
Yeah, so we've put a little bit of information out there. You might be familiar with the new and upcoming chain Archway.
Yeah.
Jackal will be involved in some projects on Archway.
Okay.
I won't say quite yet,
Mm.
but we will be happy to be working with them. And it's nice to see new chains who are popping up saying, "Hey, we could really use a storage layer, and currently this is the one that we need to use because it's Cosmos based, and the composability between the two chains is real easy." I would say look for Jackal and Archway in the future to see what we're going to be doing together.
That's gonna be awesome. We've actually had the opportunity to talk to Valeria from Archway. She's the growth marketing manager,
Excellent.
so it's gonna be
Mhm.
amazing to see like that collaboration coming through. And yeah, that sounds really really exciting.
Absolutely.
And Emery, for someone interested in getting involved in the world of crypto and blockchain technology, like what advice would you give them? I know that it's like a different kind of question. It's not as related to Jekyll Protocol, but like I said, we all
Yeah.
come from different walks of life. And like, what advice would you give people that are looking to like onboard?
Oh man, I have so much, but I'll see if I can condense it down. I would say the number one most important thing is to be curious, and that's kind of how I started out. Um, Curiosity about what can be done and what's possible is really where it's going to start from. And I don't have a ton of technical background. I have just a little bit. I did a little bit of programming way back when, but when at the time I was doing that, there were so many constraints and so many people saying, this is how the web works. You need to work within this box you're given, and blockchain really shatters that.
Yeah,
Um, when we were working on our protocol and in general how our models are going to work, so often we ran into walls saying, this isn't possible. This is not something we can do. But then we realized, well, this is blockchain.
yeah,
You can do almost anything you want to
yeah,
do, right? There are no walls, there are no barriers. The only barriers you have are your imagination.
absolutely.
So that curiosity and asking yourself, what do I want to do, and then making it possible, rather than asking what's possible and then how can I fit in that constraint, is super important. So that curiosity, I'd say, is number one. And number two, I would say, if you're doing something right now, whether it be like myself, an accountant, or whether you're a creator, or anything, you will find a place in the crypto or blockchain world for you. If you want to get involved, I would say, don't worry so much about what you're good at, or what you're trained in. There's a place for you. And I think that it's important to see where you can fit in, rather than changing your everyday job to fit in this space that you think needs a certain type of person. So uh, doesn't matter who you are, you will find a place for yourself. Uh, Artists, for people who are looking for NFTs. Obviously, your software engineers have a place. Uh, I myself, just an accountant, found a place. So it doesn't really matter what you do. You can find a place. So don't worry about what you feel like your background is. There's something out there for you.
Absolutely. That's really some great advice because that stops a lot of people, like, but I'm not a developer and I don't know
Hmm.
how to like, and it really ends up like being about this is a really large community and we're always looking to see how we can expand it in any way, shape, or form. So thank you for sharing that with people because I know that we need more people like like to keep growing
Yes,
like the
we we
protocols like
absolutely do.
yeah, like some people don't understand like how many people take like how like how many hours and how much man and woman power it takes to like push this thing forward, but it really takes like many hours. So thank you for
Yes, it really does.
thank you
You and I can both attest for
absolutely
that.
thank you for motivating people to finally like take that step. And Emery, I wanted to ask you, like, if you, I know that you are not like the most knowledgeable about like technical aspects about like the like the engineering behind a Jackal protocol, but I know that the dashboard just launched, so I don't know if you'd like
Mhm.
to either give an example or tell people how it is that they can actually use the platform.
Yeah, absolutely. So uh, they can easily find it. You can just go to app.jackalprotocol.com. I can even just bring it up real quick
Yeah, absolutely.
to show you guys what it looks like.
Absolutely.
So um, let me get that in here. And when you bring up app.jackalprotocol.com, you'll be prompted to add your wallet.
Got it.
And if you don't have a Kepler wallet, for anyone who's listening who's a little bit new, the Kepler wallet is kind of the wallet of choice
Yep.
for Cosmos right now. So it's very, very easy to download and get settled um, with that. And the most important thing I'll have to say when setting up that Kepler wallet is make sure you have that 24-word C phrase. Do not
Yes,
use that Google. Do
please.
not use that
Please.
Google, please.
Please.
Um, and there are a couple different things you can do as soon as you get the dashboard. You can if you have an RNS, our name service, you can definitely check out what's tied to your wallet already. And if you don't know what an RNS is, it's just a DNS for Cosmos.
There we go.
All right, can you guys see my screen?
Absolutely.
Great. So, like I said before, just app.jackalprotocol.com. It will prompt you to connect your wallet. And you have a few different options here. This is just a new wallet here, so you can see how it works. So here's our storage, and if you click on storage, um, it will say that you have to have storage to use it,
Yeah.
which makes sense. So here's our basic that will be coming out very, very soon here. This will be free. All you have to do is pay gas for transactions. So that'll be coming out very soon. Here's one of our more popular ones here, the advanced. It's 1 terabyte, which is approximately 655 Jackal, 96 US dollars per year. And we have our elite package. This is something where if you store a lot of data, people who uh, just do a lot of work offsite, 5 terabytes. And our pro, these are for people who are just storing massive amounts of data. Ideally, this is great for people who are content creators who have just a lot of photos, a lot of digital art, a lot of videos, and that data can take up a lot of
Yeah.
space. So that's something that we have going for those type of people.
Perfect.
But real simple. I won't make the transaction here, but let's just say I wanted to purchase this space. I would just hit select here and approve this in my Kepler
Yeah.
wallet, and it'll tell me that I'm purchasing the space. Now I don't have enough Jackal in here, so it won't continue because it'll say insufficient funds.
Yep.
But that's just how it works. It's real simple. And as soon as you are able to buy your storage, then and all you have to do is continue to upload files. And that file upload process is super easy. It's drag and drop. And like I said, it's just like your Dropbox or Google Drive or any program that you might be used to just dragging and dropping. There's also a very intuitive way to select files on your computer. If you don't know where it's at, you can find it in your file system and drop it in there. So this is extremely basic for right now, but we are looking at making, like I said, a better user experience. So this won't stay this way forever.
Got it.
In the upcoming weeks, we're going to be doing some enhancements on dashboard to make it more user friendly and much faster. So that's something that you guys will see the upcoming weeks. So if you see this right now and you're listening to this weeks later, it will not be the same.
Got it. That's awesome. And you know what? I like that it gives you all these. I know you talked about it while we were, like going over the interview, but I like the fact that you can like use Jackal if you're like like if it's just for yourself, or maybe you want to go for the pro option in case you have like a small organization, or you're like a coalition of like content creators or something like that, and you really need that storage space. It's amazing to see that you have different solutions for different, just like different degrees of file storage necessities.
Absolutely, and we will have more types of solutions in the upcoming weeks. So we're just fleshing this out so that when you come to Jackal Storage, it's going to look like any other. It's going to look like any other company when it comes to what options you have. We definitely don't want to limit our users. So like I said, it'll be much different in a few weeks, and we're happy to roll out that user experience that everyone really, really wants and really needs, especially for blockchain technology to take off to its rightful place.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much, Emery, for sharing that with us. And I think that the users and everyone that's listening is going to find tremendous value in Jackal Protocol. I once again want to thank you for your time, for coming to the show. I want to just acknowledge the hard work that yourself and the team of Jackal Protocol are putting in, because like I said, I know that it's not easy building a protocol, especially when it's like a layer one, like from the ground up. It was a really bold decision for you to do that, so I congratulate you for that and acknowledge you for the fact that you're pretty much thinking about everything. And I'm really excited to have further conversations in the future to see how everything is shaping up. And just once again, thank you so much for your time. And how can people, like, I know you already said you have a Discord server, you have a Telegram server, you're on Twitter, but how is it that people can like stay up to date with what's happening with Jackal Protocol?
Yeah, I would say the best way to stay up to date with Jackal Protocol is our Discord that has the most information and the most frequent updates. We do an announcement whenever we have something big coming. We also have a town hall every Wednesday. So that'll be starting the Wednesday after this one. So this is for users to come to the creators of Jackal and just kind of give their opinion on how their experience works and how they think we can improve. And we're happy to take all that constructive criticism, because at the end of the day, this is built for you guys. We want you guys to have the best experience. So come Wednesdays, come by and see what we're doing. We will have a place for people to talk on stage. We'll have a place for people to type up their questions. And it's not just, it won't be just talking about Jackal Protocol here. Wednesdays is just kind of our days to hang out with our community. So sometimes we'll have games, sometimes we'll have interviews. So just come and hang out with us. We love to see our user base and people who are interested in our protocol.
Awesome. I'll bring the popcorn.
Yeah, absolutely. Please do.
Awesome. So once again, thank you so much, Emery. I'm sure that a lot of exciting things are going to come from Jackal Protocol. And hope you have an amazing rest of the day. And once again, thank you so much for coming to the show.
Yeah, you as well. Thanks for having me, and hope to be back.
Absolutely. Take care.